What's good guys, TheoryFighter here, and today I'm going to be talking you through the Rose versus Cody matchup. Now this matchup is actually quite hard for Rose. At long range, Cody wins. At close range, Cody wins. At mid range, Cody wins. So what this matchup is all about is getting a knockdown and applying pressure. If Cody doesn't have super or ultra meter, he gets absolutely destroyed in the pressure game. You can really frame trap him to death. His backdash is so bad that you really don't even need to option select it a lot of the time, just because your buttons will still beat it. Once you've got the life advantage, at this point you can either decide to back off and start playing a defensive game or apply more pressure. With both characters excelling at their pressure game, this is a matchup that can heavily rely on momentum, but Cody has a much better and easier time starting that momentum just because of how good his footsies are against Rose. So let's look at the long range. Now, against Cody you can't reflect his rocks, so this means you lose the long range. Your fireballs really don't cut it against his bad rocks, and on top of this he can actually slide under all of your fireballs. Generally what you want to do in this sort of position is you want to just walk forward and block, or build a little bit of super meter, or build a little bit of ultra meter. Make sure you don't give up any space though. This is the primary thing in this range. If you start giving up some of the screen to him, he'll just walk forward and capitalise on it. You need to make sure that you don't let him walk forward for free at any point. Mid-range is actually not that much better. Your two best pokes, stand forward and stand around house, don't work in this matchup because Cody can actually just crouch jab and option select into the ruffian kick. This means that he's going to get positioning and he's going to get his pressure game started. What you want to do instead is you want to use crouch roundhouse and crouch forward. Both of these pokes lead to a little bit better setups. Often crouch jab will still beat them, but your reward for hitting one of those pokes is either a safe jump or a knockdown, both of which you desperately need in this. One of the things you have to bear in mind though is Cody has a really good focus attack. This focus, it blows up pretty much everything you can do. You can't even really do a crouch forward into an EX soul spiral because often he will get a counter hit focus attack, so you just have to be really careful. Close range, where Rose actually excels in some matchups, she really doesn't hit either. Once again, crouch jab beats your own crouch jab, your crouch strong and your crouch short. So you really don't want to be in this range unless you're trying to force a 50-50 after a dash in with your close forward or throw. It's the only real situation you're actually going to be in this range or want to be in this range. You want to avoid it at all costs. You can just use crouch jab and crouch short all day and you'll just get blown up by it. Anti-airing works the same as it does in most matchups. Stand strong, crouch fierce, slide are your go-to buttons to anti-air Cody. The only difference from normal matchups is his attacks are very low profile, so you don't really want to be doing your crouch forward to get under attacks like you do in some matchups. For punishes, criminal upper isn't safe. None of them are actually safe, but what they do have is a lot of pushback, so sometimes you kind of just want to punish with crouch strong for the most part. What Cody can do though is put you in a block string and then finish with the light criminal upper, and your crouch strong will whiff, and sometimes they'll use this to kind of bait out or punish if they're losing and just ultra 2, which totally sucks getting hit by. Bingo is really similar to criminal upper. It has a lot of pushback, so for the most part you're just going to be using crouch strong. EX bingo less so, it doesn't push you back as far and sends Cody a lot further forward, so you can normally crouch fierce into a big punish or ultra 2 or just do your biggest punish available to you at that point. The ruffian kicks have a lot of active frames, so it's actually possible for them to make it relatively safe. You just need to judge the distance correctly and punish. Once again, I would just go for crouch strong into soul spiral. The EX version does move them a lot further forward, so you can normally get a little bit of a bigger punish on it. Cody's pressure game functions exactly the same as Rose's. It's all about scoring a counter hit and baiting them to tech a throw. Cody's is interesting in the way that he has a lot more moves that move him forward, but what you can do is just block and react to the overhead. His walk speed's kind of shitty and his throw range is okay. So with these two things you can actually late tech pretty effectively. What you need to do is tech the throw, push him out a little bit, and then start your poke game up so you can kind of space him or try and change the momentum. And because you have the really good backdash, Cody can kind of deal with it, but he has to approach it in a certain way. say his forward strong, which is a move that you would option select all the time to beat a backdash, you would option select it using his Ultra 2 or a Ruffian kick. What you can do instead is use your EX Soul Spiral, and because of the recovery on the move, you'll actually win out for free. So there are lots of situations where you can actually either backdash or the EX Soul Spiral, and if you have 3 meters, you've kind of got a get out of jail free card, because it's pretty hard for him to actually be able to bait and punish that effectively. Most of the option selects don't work that well, and option selecting into EX bingo is pretty difficult when you're trying to apply pressure. The main thing about applying pressure with Rose is he has got amazing normals, as I've shown through this. He's got 3-frame crouch short, and his crouch jab is just fantastic at beating Rose. So you have to be really on point with your frame traps. You want to use meter in this match to either play defensively or offensively. You don't want to use it for little bits of damage. So if you're going to use the meter to leave pressure on, make sure you get something for it. The best moment to actually do damage to Cody is on the 50-50 on wake up. After that, because of his normals, it actually gets really hard to apply pressure. See if he's using things like the option select into crouch jab for the tech throw, or crouch short, because you can punish the crouch short and you can bait it a lot easier. The crouch jab's a little bit harder, but you can use things like crouch forward from a distance. So just make sure that you are on point with making some pretty hard reads on what he's going to do. It's all about getting that 50-50 from close forward and throw. That's your bread and butter for this matchup, and where you're going to score a lot of your damage once you convince him not to press button on counter hit. If he starts late teching, you also want to start making your frame traps a little bit more open, so doing things like crouch jab, walk forward, close forward, that will work really well if someone's late teching. One good thing about applying offense in this matchup is the fact that you can do your ambiguous cross-ups. In most matchups they're pretty unsafe due to good reversals, but because Cody's got none, you can actually just do them pretty freely, to be honest, from any sort of knockdown that you get. They're not as ambiguous as people like to make out, to be honest. For the most part they're always crossing up, but there are a few tricks here and there with soul throw if you're willing to burn the meter or you've got him in the corner. So it's definitely something you need to consider, especially if you're going to try and make a comeback. As for Ultra choice in this matchup, Cody's going to go with Ultra 2. It is absolutely amazing. It basically means that you cannot throw fireballs from mid-range at all. It's so easy for him to react and Ultra 2. The only variable to him doing that is sometimes the slow fireball, the jab one, will actually hit him out of it just due to how slow it is, but you really can't count on that. Another thing that's really good about his Ultra 2 is it punishes your backdashes, and it does a pretty good job against your EX Soul Spirals as well. As for Rose's Ultra choice, it's kind of up in the air what you should choose. I personally think that Ultra 1 isn't as good as Ultra 2. Ultra 2 allows you to get out of his pressure game without having to burn EX, which is crucial. Your meter management is everything in this matchup. If you tech a throw and you've got Ultra 2, you can then just activate it and walk forward a little bit. The downside to it is between EX Ruffian, Bad Rocks, his Ultra 2, he has so many ways to deal with your Ultra 2. The way you really want to use it is defensively, get a bit of screen control, maybe walk forward on him a little bit. That's the only way you're going to really be able to use it effectively, unless you've already got him in the corner and you're trying to apply some really heavy pressure. But it's definitely not the sort of matchup where you can actually just activate it mid-screen and then just force him into the corner. Anyway guys, I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you soon. Peace.